All right, we're working on the XC60. This time, we're replacing the steering rack. So we've got, you can hear that. So there's, well, it's probably about 10 degrees of steering play where the wheels are actually not even moving. So what's happening is the rack itself is actually moving relative to the housing. Something's broken in there, like bushings wore away or whatever. So unfortunately, we've got to replace the steering rack, and I do not want to pay for that to be done at a dealership, so we're going to try it ourselves. Holy shit. So when I pulled the rack out, this cap was off, and when this was in the car, I actually adjusted this cap. I turned it in. I was able to actually turn this, which is crazy. You shouldn't be able to turn this. This is basically, all this does is there's a spring in here that pushes on the rack itself. So right now you can see what my issue was. Let's see if I can do it with one hand. Yeah, right there. So you can see, well, I guess you can't really see it. Let me try. All right, so that shaft moves, right? And the reason that shaft is moving is because this adjustment is, well, currently the cap isn't on it, so it's not adjusted at all. But the new one, you can see this is turned all the way in. So that's actually pressing on this spring, which pushes on the rack and eliminates that play on that shaft. So in this case, all that happened, simply the failure point was the threads on the cap. I tried screwing this cap back in and it actually just pops back off, which indicates to me, I mean, you can even see it, the threads are damaged. If I was able to source a new cap, I could simply install it and that travel would go away. Now it's possible, since it's been going on for a long time, that actually something's damaged inside. I don't know. But if you were to catch this early enough, you could theoretically replace this cap and you could eliminate that travel. This is a classic case of cost savings and, or, you know, I don't want to call it planned obsolescence. That's conspiracy theory. But, you know, whatever it is, the point is this failed, and it shouldn't. You know, like, as a customer, if I had taken this to a shop, it would cost me, you know, $4,000 or something to have this thing replaced, and you know, when the failure is a $5 part, or maybe even less than that, it's really frustrating. So what I think I'm going to try and do is source one of these caps, and I know what the big problem is installing the cap in the car with the rack in the car. And I think what we could do is, so this is a bolt and this is a bolt that bolts to the subframe. If you were, and you can remove those very easily. If you remove both of those, you can actually move the rack around if you disconnect the steering shaft. And so you do those three things, you could probably get enough movement out of the rack to be able to access this and replace this. So if I can find that cap, I'll put it in the video. Then I think if you have this problem, you should be able to do that. You can either take it to an independent mechanic if you're not comfortable with it, or you can try it yourself. Honestly, it wouldn't be that hard to do. It just really bugs me to see some failure like this, because it really is avoidable. And people, I'm sure thousands of people that have bought this same car, or even like the S60s, V60s, whatever, the same year, have this problem. Now, I don't know on the new part if they made some changes to this material, because it is a different color, but this is it's a GF, or it's a PA66, so it's nylon, and it's a GF10, so it's glass fiber, 10% glass fiber. I don't know what that part is. I'm not going to pull it out because I don't want to damage this, but I can do some scratch tests to see if I can hear more fiberglass. Oh my gosh. Bottom line, I mean, I'm replacing it with a new part, and this is like the latest revision. This part is like maybe 10 revisions old. So I'm hoping they fixed this issue and I won't have to pull this thing out for the life of this car again. But, you know, they put a plastic part back in where they should have used some sort of metal. Like, really, we never need to touch this. So why is it that I can actually pull it off? Like, just install it as a permanent part from the factory. Don't let anybody touch this. And then you won't have to have this part fail in, you know, 50,000 miles or something like that. Honestly, this is really the dumbest design I think I've ever seen, and it really pisses me off. Anyway, rant over. So let's just fix this stupid fucking car.